What up, you guys? Slim here, Team Panda, back with another deck discussion. This one is, the next one on my list from Steven, 55871. So shout out to you. We're gonna discuss Cloudians, you guys. A lot of people have been wondering, what's up with Cloudians? Why is there a buzz around the internet and the forums about Cloudians? And for people who don't know, Cloudians have like one of the best ways to summon Shooting Quasar Dragon, which is coming out as like the best like synchro monster to ever come out. So people are wondering, why is the deck so good? Like, what is going to make it, um, like, are Cloudians really going to have a chance once this thing comes out? And the answer is yes. But for people who don't know what Cloudians do, I'm going to run through like how the deck is run, and there's also a little segment on the Shooting Quasar Dragon Cloudian, so we'll definitely be able to figure that out. Um, we'll be talking about that, of course. It's a really, unique deck. Like, it's really skill involved. Like, if you really want to play skillfully, clouds are actually the way to go because they take a lot of skill to run. And I think now with Shooting Quasar coming out, they're actually going to have a chance to be good. So we're going to get into that real quick. Like I said, it's going to be based on just shooting Quasar is the way that it's going to go. So I'm just going to get into it real quick. So for people who don't know, Cloudians were, of course, released in GX during Season 3. There's a lot of different ones, and most of the monsters, they can't be destroyed in battle while in attack position, but if they're in defense position, they're destroyed by their own effects, so that means they have to stay in attack position. Um, you use cards like Spirit Barrier or Sanctuary in the Sky to protect your life points while you have a face-up Cloudian in attack position. Especially if it's a Cloudian, like I said, it can't be destroyed by battle. A lot of them also have, low attacks, but that means a majority are searchable, by the Salvage and Sangans. And they have their effects activated, with fog counters. So fog counters are the way that they go. So just going to get into this real quick. Like I said, I've never played the deck. I don't think I've even played against it aside from like on the video game, but that doesn't really count. So we're just going to get into what the deck basically does and why it's able to summon Shooting Quasars. So let's get into that now. Basically, it says Cloudians require an advanced degree of skill to use, like I mentioned before. Their usefulness depends on how many fog counters there are on the field. Most Cloudians cannot be destroyed by battle, but their low attack leaves their controller open to taking damage unless cards like the aforementioned, Spirit Barrier or the Sanctuary in the Sky are on the field. Because that way, if you control a face-up fairy type or whatever it is, they don't take battle damage. So your life points are safe. Otherwise, you use equip cards to boost their attack so that the damage is lessened. Once your support cards are in play, your opponent will find it frustratingly difficult to get past a Cloudian deck's defenses. While the opponent is being stalled, the Cloudian can then generate enough fog counters to whittle down the opponent's defenses, eventually leaving them with nothing to protect themselves from otherwise weak monsters. So that's what they do, you guys. They stall and they wear you down with fog counters. So that's how Cloudians are run, which I think is really cool. So they're taking the stall factor into account, but they're also wearing you down in the process. So let's continue with that. Fog counters are the main power source for Cloudian monsters. They're essential for victory. The counters should be placed mainly on the Cloudian players' monsters, but certain Cloudian cards can take advantage of fog counters anywhere on the field, i.e. cards like Cloudian Nimbus Man and Diamond Dust Cyclone. So Cloudians generally gain fog counters when they are normal summoned. Cards like Ultimate Offering help generate huge masses of fog counters. If people didn't already know that, you can just pay 500, summon another one, keep getting fog counters on several monsters in no time at all, allowing for immediate use of their appropriate effects. Since fog counters can only be placed on face-up monsters, Light of Intervention is a good card to use in a Cloudian deck. A good way to gradually strengthen your monsters to have Cloudian Squall out, and stalling tools to buy turns for accumulating fog counters. So basically what that means, people don't understand, basically you need your fog counters to activate your effects. You need to stall out as much as possible in order to build up those effects. So by building up those effects, you're able to like I said, build up your fog counters and whittle down your opponent's defenses. So the strategy behind Cloudians is they're water attribute fairy type monsters. They're versatile with a lot of support cards, both Cloudian and non-Cloudian. Cloudian deck can focus on swarming the field or destroying opponents' cards or inflicting burn damage with natural disaster, or a stall victory on raw beatdown power with Cloudian Nimbus Man, or any combination of the above. Cloudian Eye of the Typhoon can also provide some field control by messing with the battle positions of opposing monsters. So obviously that means they can switch them. The seemingly the seemingly weak monsters in the deck, such as Cloudian Altus, Cloudian or Stratus and Cloudian Acid Cloud become surprisingly useful with enough fog counters on the field. There are cards like Cloudian Skull and Fog Control. Anyone facing these three puffballs will quickly find themselves with no monsters, no back row, no hand, and no options, hence the name Cloud Control. That's basically it. So basically Cloudians can totally just like wreck like your entire strategy of the game. So um, like I said, their water attribute fairy. They rely on Sanctuary in the Sky or Spirit Barrier to prevent battle damage, and Salvage, which allows them to return 2 follow monsters back to the hand, essentially making a +1. Most of the Cloudians have low attack, making it possible to search them out with Sangan, Mother Grizzly, or even Damage Condenser. Also, since most Cloudians are fairy type, a good card to add to the deck is Athena, who can use her effect to special summon powerful Cloudians from the graveyard by sacrificing small Cloudians like Cloudian Smokeball. While the special summoning is generally a good idea, bear in mind that most Cloudians gave their fog counters when they're normal summon. So basically that means, it's cool to special summon, but in this deck you'd probably want a normal summon to get more fog counters out. The Cloudians' effects work when they have enough fog counters, like I mentioned before. Since they have many cards to quickly summon Cloudians, like Cloudian Sheepcloud and Cloudian Turbulence, they can quickly swarm the field. The Cloudian strength lies in their ability to destroy cards using fog counters, and that limits the opponent's ability to respond. Cloudian deck can be used as a burn deck, and using cards like Natural Disaster or Rough Draft, or in a beatdown deck as they dismantle your opponent's defenses. Some Cloudian players choose to use their ability to stay on the field and tribute fodder from Monarch hybrid decks. The essential strongest Cloudian is Cloudian Eye of the Typhoon at 3,000, but Cloudian Nimbusman is considered one of the best Cloudians because its attacks can grow to incredible heights, and if there are 2 or more copies of Cloudian Squall on the field. So that's just, just some basic stuff. They tell you, when making the deck, what's recommended. They say you need Spirit Barrier or Sanctuary in the Sky. Like I mentioned before, they could use Athena, and it works with Cloudian Turbulence and Smoke Balls. Victoria can prevent fairy type monsters from being targeted by attacks. So there's a lot of different protection. They can combine them with the Moki Moki Archetype and Moki Moki Smackdown. They just say a lot of cards, if you need them, depending on what you have. Some Cloudian decks use the Wicked Avatar because Cloudians tend to stick around long enough to tribute. Sometimes a Cloudian deck can use Harmon, Lord of Striking Thunder, by taking advantage of the fact that Cloudian Skull is a continuous spell. 3 of these and or Summon Cloud could increase the chances of the monster being summoned. And this would only be necessary when your opponent is unprotected and you want major firepower to absorb, from the fog counters. It wouldn't hurt to add a Gozen, match a rivalry of Warlords in the side deck, as nearly all the monsters are one type. Most of them are one attribute. If you know what type of deck your opponent uses, you could slip in one or both of the above cards to limit your opponent's summoning abilities and leave you almost untouched. So for people who want to know, the other part of this video is on Cloudian Quasar. The deck uses only Cloudian Turbulence, Cloudian Smokeball, and Cloudian Storm Dragon to swarm the field. Smokeball can be tuned with Fishborg to summon Formula Synchron, and Storm Dragon is used to summon any level 5 Synchro. Then you can summon Shooting Quasar Dragon. So that's how it's done, you guys. The Cloudians actually are able to do it a lot easier than most other decks out there. I'm looking up some of these cards because, they're really old, like Cloudian Turbulence is old, but these cards are really cool, so it's definitely, something to check out, because I know a lot of people wanted to know, why would Cloudians of all decks, have the chance to, come back, and, especially with Shooting Quasar Dragon coming out. So that's basically what the whole point of this video was, is to let you guys know about that. And last thing I'm going to talk about is, their weakness. They're destroyed by, if they're put in defense, so if you use Econ, Zero Gravity, Book of Moon, anything like that will destroy them. And then, you just got to play around them. They're an annoying deck. Stall decks are always annoying, but that's why you run decks that can cause mass destruction. So I hope this profile answered people's questions. I really took my time on this one so that I could explain everything about what Cloudians do and how they're going to take use of Shooting Quasar Dragon when it's released. So that's all I gotta say, you guys. Leave me your comments below if you've used Clouds before or encountered them before, because I haven't played them in a really long time. So just let me know what you think. Leave me some comments, some feedback. Send me more ideas. I got a lot of videos shooting out today. But that's all I gotta say on Cloudians, you guys. So please continue to rate, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching.